We're live. Okay. Hello, it's Bill, the knee pain guru. Today is, what is today? Thursday, June 17th, 2021. Today, we're going to talk about scar tissue. Dissolving scar tissue. Let's see, what is it? Dissolving scar tissue after 4 knee surgeries. Okay, here we go. Let's see. We got this question came in on YouTube. It was after the 2 knee operations 35 years ago video. I think I recorded that yesterday. Okay, so Grant writes, "Hey Bill, I have severe arthrofibrosis. Do you know of anything that will dissolve internal scar tissue, as I cannot have any more surgery because I have had 4 surgeries in 2 years. I still have a staph infection." This is from Grant, who's in Sydney, Australia. Well, thank you, Grant, for typing your question or asking your question. And this is an interesting point about breaking down scar tissue. Your body wants to break down scar tissue. Like, that's what it does. Just normal, natural movement of the joint will break down scar tissue. What ends up happening is we need to understand, why is the knee developing the scar tissue to begin with? And when you have 4 knee surgeries and the body's been through that amount of trauma, as well as the injury that led to 4 surgeries, like, it adds up and compounds. And what's important to understand is that if we lead with comfort, and I talk about this in the majority of my videos, that if we begin changing the neurology by getting the pressure off of the tiny little nerves the width of an eyelash that are being squeezed, sending a signal to your brain that you have pain, that comfort begins to increase the comfortable range of motion. It's important distinction I'm making here is that there's the anatomical range of motion of the joint, and then there's the comfortable range of motion of the joint. The anatomical range of the joint would be fully extended, fully flexed. However, many times what happens is that the full range of motion, the anatomical range of motion of the joint, is inhibited from pain. Pain will not allow the joint to fully flex, to fully extend. So now we're left with a different range of motion, which is important to pay attention to, and that's the comfortable range of motion. That's the range of motion you can move the joint in where it's not painful. Now, depending on what's gone on with your knee, the comfortable range of motion may be very tiny, and comfort is relative, depending on how much trauma the knee has been through. Comfortable range of motion can be very small, especially when the pain is big. And comfort is relative, meaning we can move the body or move the knee in a comfortable range of motion that's small, that doesn't make the pain go completely away. It begins to reduce the pain. So if you have a pain level of a 9, and we create comfort and we drop it to a pain level of a 7, that is relatively more comfortable than the pain level of a 9. And the more we focus on that and change the neurology in your knee to create more comfort, you increase the comfortable range of motion, so it begins to match the anatomical range of motion. If this is making sense, give the video a thumbs up. Like and subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications for future videos. So, the more we focus on creating the comfortable range of motion in the joint, the more the comfortable range of motion matches the anatomical range of motion in the joint. Now, this is how it ties in with scar tissue. The body produces scar tissue as a way to protect the joint, so the joint doesn't hurt more, so the joint doesn't get injured further. And the more we focus on creating comfort and changing the neurological signaling in the joint by working with the intrinsic movement of the joint, and we expand the comfortable range of motion in the joint so it begins to match the anatomical range of motion in the joint, the scar tissue is broken down on its own. So instead of raising the bridge, we're going to lower the river, and we're going to accomplish it. Because on the contrary, when you're going to conventional physical therapy and you're just pushing through the pain and forcing the range of motion in the joint to break down the scar tissue, we're not paying attention to what the body has done to that point to develop the scar tissue. And the more we force the joint in a painful range of motion, the more the joint will resist that range of motion and develop scar tissue, because the scar tissue is protecting the joint. So we have to understand what the joint is doing and why it's doing it in order to get better results. Better results with the knee, better results with the range of motion, more comfort in the knee, as well as breaking down of the scar tissue. So Grant, great question, all the way from down under in Australia. If you have any questions, there's a few people here online. We got some on Facebook, some on YouTube. If you have questions, please type those in the comments section. Does scar tissue show up in an MRI? It can. I believe it can. Yes. So next step for those that are looking for this information, sounds good. You can head on over to my website, get on my newsletter list. I send out emails that helps change your mindset around getting out of pain. Pain is actually pretty simple to get you out of. It's your mindset that will get the body stuck and back into pain before you even realize it. So we need to, create comfort, set up the conditions in your body to heal your knee, work on your mindset to avoid self-sabotage. Okay, so that's a newsletter. We can set up a time for a consult if you'd like. We will figure out a strategy for you to get your knee, especially if you're working with docs and PTs and you're stuck and frustrated and looking for an integrated approach. I can help with that. And then if you want a strategy to get your knee out of pain, my group coaching program, Knee Club. Yeah, all of that is in the the description below this video. You can do that. We are also, these videos are being converted and Spanish subtitles are being added to it. So we're tapping into a new area of helping people in Spanish-speaking countries. Okay, no more questions. Thank you all for being here. Bill Paravano, the Knee Pain Guru, going to sign off for today. Have a wonderful day. I'll see you on the next one.